In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on September 23, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. UCF versus Kansas State. The UCF Knights pay a visit to Manhattan, Kansas and Bill Snyder Family Stadium on Saturday to play against the Kansas State Wildcats. UCF is 3-0 following a 48-14 victory over Villanova last weekend. UCF opened the season with a 56-6 rout of Kent State and followed that with a victory on the road versus Boise State of 18-16 before defeating Villanova. Kansas State was defeated by Missouri 30-27 last Saturday after opening the season with 2 consecutive victories. Central Florida will play without starting quarterback John Reese Plumlee, while tight end Jordan Davis is questionable. Kansas State will play without offensive lineman Christian Duffy, while linebacker Daniel Green is doubtful and quarterback Will Howard is questionable. Even though UCF is playing without its dual-threat quarterback John Reese Plumlee, the Knights have a pair of talented running backs that have rushed for a combined 452 yards with 4 touchdowns, and also have a talented backup quarterback in Timmy McClain, who in his one start this season had 374 yards passing with a pair of touchdowns. UCF opens its first ever Big 12 schedule on a tough note in Manhattan, Kansas Saturday, but will show members of the conference it's no slouch on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Kansas State could play without its starting quarterback Will Howard, who has been listed as questionable, and that will be a big loss for the Wildcats if he cannot go. Kansas State is coming off a disappointing loss to Missouri, and that could have a negative effect on the team when they host UCF on Saturday. The possibility of Howard not playing for Kansas State has affected the line that opened Kansas State -6.5 but has dropped to -5. True freshman Avery Johnson would play in place of Howard if the starting quarterback cannot play. The Kansas State Wildcats are getting the benefit of the doubt here because they're at home, and they should have a nasty taste in their mouth after that loss to Missouri. With that said, we're getting free points with an unbeaten UCF team that won in Boise State and has the top total offense in college football through 3 weeks. UCF has the second best rushing attack in college football as well. Kansas State's pass defense is 108th in the country. This should be a fun game under the lights, so the UCF Knights to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both teams have demonstrated remarkable offensive prowess in their recent games. The UCF Knights have been an offensive juggernaut, scoring 48 and 56 points in 2 of their 3 games this season. Their total offensive yards stand at a staggering 617.7, showcasing a high-octane offense that can put up big numbers on the board. On the other side, the Kansas State Wildcats have not been shy in racking up the points either, with scores of 42 and 45 in 2 of their victories this season. Their offense, led by the experienced Will Howard, has been balanced and potent, accumulating an average of 464.3 total yards per game. Moreover, considering the defensive stats, where the Wildcats allow an average of 314.3 yards and the Knights allow 283.7 yards per game, we can anticipate a game where both offenses will have opportunities to shine. Even if Kansas State starting quarterback Will Howard does not play, and knowing that UCF starting quarterback John Reese Plumlee will not play does not affect the outcome of this as far as points are concerned. Both teams score plenty of points and will do so on Saturday. UCF is scoring 41 points per game and Kansas State is close behind at 38 points per game. Given the offensive talents on both sides and the high stakes of this Big 12 matchup, we can expect a game where the scoreboard will be ticking constantly. This could be a back and forth matchup where plenty of touchdowns are scored and the team with the final possession ends up winning. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Southern California versus Arizona State. The number 5 Southern California Trojans collide with the Arizona State Sun Devils in a Pac-12 battle on Saturday evening. The Trojans beat Stanford in their previous action to remain undefeated. The Sun Devils were shut out by Fresno State in their previous bout. Southern California posted a 42-25 home win against Arizona State last season. It's essentially a playoff or bust season for Lincoln Riley, reigning Heisman winner Caleb Williams, and the Southern California Trojans. They're off to a perfect 3-0 start, and they've played in 3 no-doubt games thus far. Most recently, the Trojans beat up on Stanford to open up conference play, plowing them 56-10 in Los Angeles. They're now 2-1 against the spread, and the over has cashed in 2 of their 3 matchups this season. The aforementioned Williams is off to an excellent start as he looks to defend his Heisman performance of a year ago. He has already racked up 878 yards on a 78.6% completion rate, collecting a 12-0 touchdown-interception ratio in the process. He's added 61 yards on the ground while being sacked just 3 times. As for the rushing attack, Marshawn Lloyd leads the way with 195 yards on 25 touches. The defense has always been an issue for the Lincoln Riley teams, and as an analyst, it's why I never take them seriously as a national championship contender. So far, Alex Grinch's unit has allowed 52 points over 3 games, which is mediocre considering all things. They certainly haven't played the pinnacle of the sport just yet. In terms of yardage allowed, they translate to being the 71st best defense, giving up 368.3 yards per contest. I don't think the expectations were high for Arizona State entering the season. However, there was certainly optimism as the Pac-12 school signed Phoenix native and Arizona State alum Kenny Dillingham to coach the program. Things haven't gone as planned for the 33-year-old coach as the Sun Devils are just 1-2 out of the gate, failing to cover the spread in all 3 games. The total has also gone under in all 3 contests. One of the reasons for the unsuccessful start has been the carousel at quarterback. Jadon Rashada was set to take over the reins, but he'll be missing 4 to 6 weeks with an undisclosed injury. Trenton Burgett and Drew Pine split time in last weekend's 29-0 loss, but they each exited with injuries. So, the quarterbacking responsibilities fell upon Jacob Conover, who went just 6-16 with a pair of picks. Certainly not a Cinderella story. It's looking like the Notre Dame transfer, Pine, will be back to play quarterback this weekend. The defense hasn't been terrible for the Sun Devils this season, and you could argue they've held their own. Over the 3 games, Arizona State has allowed 77 points. In terms of yardage, that translates to 327 yards allowed per game, which is actually 37th in the country. This is one of 2 Pac-12 After Dark games on Saturday. Southern Cal comes in after a bye week, and Heisman frontrunner Caleb Williams has this offense humming. The Trojans have mowed down all 3 of their opponents so far, and their starters have been out of the game pretty early each time. If the odds makers are right about this line, we may see the same story again. Arizona State is in shambles right now, and one of the worst teams among the Power 5 schools. Coming off a scandal-plagued season, this program is in total rebuild mode. The Southern California Trojans should be big favorites for obvious reasons as they're loaded on both sides of the ball, have the Heisman favorite at quarterback, and we just saw Arizona State get shut out by Fresno State. A Southern California blowout would surprise nobody. However, Arizona State on the road can be a tricky spot due to an underrated crowd, and this is a potential look-ahead spot for Southern California with Colorado on deck. If anything, Southern California should be focused on winning and getting out to keep guys injury-free. Ton of points here, so the Arizona State Sun Devils to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. The Trojans' offensive production has been spectacular, scoring at least 56 points in all 3 games. Caleb Williams is a possible number 1 overall pick for the NFL draft and will continue to dominate. Southern California attempts a pass in 57% of their plays and will generate quick scoring drives. In addition, Arizona State will contribute to this total. The Trojans rank 77th in pass defense and 94th against the run. Arizona State has opted for the run just as much as the pass this season, and I expect that to continue again a rush defense that can be solved. The over is a convincing 9-1 in the Trojans' last 10 games. Southern California is not going to let up in this game. With a 4-team playoff system, it's clear that potential 1-loss teams must dominate any opponent that is truly inferior to them. Considering the Pac-12 is pretty stacked, and Riley's boogeyman, Kyle Whittingham, is still in the conference, I could see the Trojans stumbling at some point. That means they need to lay it on in every game. Honestly, I don't think it's outlandish to say that Southern California can clear this number by themselves. They've managed at least 56 points in their 3 games so far, which plays into the thesis above. They should decimate the Sun Devils in this game and put up at least 8 more touchdowns. On the flip side, if the experienced Drew Pine is able to go, Arizona State will notch at a few scores. I'm riding the over in Temp on Saturday. I expect a high-scoring game. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. California versus Washington. The California Golden Bears meet with the Washington Huskies in a conference battle on Saturday night. The Golden Bears posted a home win against Idaho last week. The Huskies easily defeated Michigan State to remain unbeaten on the young season. Washington recorded a 28-21 road win against California last season. Cal is 2-1 with a 14-10 loss to Auburn. The Huskies are 3-0 and have blown out everyone they have played so far. They have not had the easiest schedule either, with games against Boise State, Tulsa, and Michigan State. This might not be much of a test for the Huskies, who average 614 yards per game, second most in the country, and 49.5 points per game. They will be going against a Cal defense that has allowed only 280 yards per game and 17.5 points per game. This Cal defense has not seen an offense like Washington's, though. The Huskies are red hot and 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games, 10-0 in their last 10 games, and 9-0 in their last 9 home games. They are led by Michael Penix Jr., who has 1,332 yards with 12 touchdowns and only 1 interception. He is currently the second favorite to win the Heisman at DraftKings. Despite Cal's defensive numbers, I don't think they have much of a chance in this game. The best offense Cal has played was Auburn, and their offense averages only 428 yards per game, which is good but is not at Washington's level. Cal is 3-8 in its last 11 games and 1-6 in its last 7 road games. The California Golden Bears are an improved squad, but this is a daunting task against possibly the best offense in the Football Bowl subdivision. Washington State just beat Michigan State by 34 points on the road and scored at least 41 points in all 3 games. Furthermore, Washington has an air raid offense that attempts a pass in 62% of their plays, more than all but 8 teams in the Football Bowl subdivision. This could be disastrous for the Golden Bears considering they just squandered 279 passing yards to Idaho, who play in the Football Championship subdivision. Also, the Huskies' defense is just as dominant as the offense, conceding 19 or fewer points in all 3 games. California relies heavily on the running game to generate points, and the Huskies just limited Michigan State to only 53 rushing yards. Also, Bears' #1 running back Jaden Ott did not play last week and is questionable. With a quarterback like Michael Penix Jr. at the helm, we should see no offensive struggle from the Huskies this game. Sure, Cal is 4th in the country defensively, allowing just 227.5 yards per game, but those performances were against North Texas and Auburn. I'm not buying into that narrative. Cal hung around with Auburn, which is somewhat encouraging heading into this contest, but the limited offense with no passing attack is concerning, especially on the road. The Washington Huskies are the best team Cal has faced up to this point, and they have arguably the best offense in the country that's 2nd in total offense and 8th in scoring offense. Michael Penix has to be in the Heisman conversations right now, and I'm not sure this Cal defense has the horses to keep up. Washington's offense will come out and take care of business against Cal at home. I've heard a lot of the betting community talk about how they believe Washington may be the best team in the country. I don't know if I go that far, but I am certainly buying the hype with this program. With a line at 20.5 points, it almost feels like the sportsbooks are begging us to take the Huskies in this matchup. Well, I'll take the bait, as I believe the Huskies will win this game comfortably by at least 3 touchdowns as they continue to climb up the rankings. Thick line, but we're going to learn more about Cal regardless of results. So the Washington Huskies to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Sam Jackson the 5th's getting the nod at quarterback. He's just a sophomore who only has 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions this season. The signal caller is completing just 53.7% of his passes, which likely won't bode well against this Washington defense. I'm expecting him to struggle on the road in a hostile Seattle environment. From a trends perspective, the under has cashed in 6 of the last 7 games between these 2 teams in Seattle. It's also 11-2 in the last 13 meetings overall. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.